Welcome to this week's PDI event in conjunction with St. Louis Graduates, St. Louis School Business Partnership, and STEMSTL. We are partnering with St. Louis School Business Partnership this morning with one of their monthly meeting, I'm sorry. So we would like to welcome anyone to the call if this is your first time and you're here through the St. Louis School Business Partnership. Welcome and sit back, relax, enjoy. It should be a wealth of information for you. Just want to welcome everyone this morning and hope everyone's having a great day. It's good to see some sunshine and warmer temperatures. I don't know about you guys, but the cold gets me down and the warm makes me happy. So I'm glad to see some sunshine. And after we're off the call, step out, enjoy some fresh air, and just take in the sunshine. So we're going to get started, and just to move on, we have some housekeeping rules as we go along. And I'm not going to read all of them to you because we are all very educated and we understand. Just ask for your patience and know that we're doing our best. We may hit some technological glitches. You might see some pets or some children in the background. And just be patient with each other, and we'll get through it. And just to remind you to make sure if you're not presenting to have your mic muted, that would be great. And the other things, and we're going to put in the chat the agenda and the housekeeping rules and all of that as we're going along. Okay. Next, we were going to just remind you of some upcoming events to register for workshops that are coming up. We have a workshop in March on all three areas: financial aid workshops, career pathways workshops, and match and fit in both March and April. April will be our last time meeting together. So just make sure you mark those on your calendar, spread the word, register, and join us for those workshops. And we have a lot of great information, jam-packed session this morning. So we're not going to delay. We're going to go ahead and keep it moving. So next you'll hear from Tiffany Davis from St. Louis Community College. She's going to give you some information on the labor market demand and supply for IT and gaming. Tiffany.
Thank you, Dawn. Good morning, everyone. So my name is Tiff Davis. I'm Director of Workforce and Talent Development for St. Louis Community College. And a large part of my role is connecting businesses to the workforce and training to existing and future workforce needs. And then another part of my role is making sure we have accurate data so that we can inform everyone about what the workforce is looking like, what job projections are, and things like that. So today, I'm going to give you a bit of information about the IT labor market. And so I got some information from Merrick, as well as some information from Jobs EQ for the fourth quarter. And then when I talk about top employers, I do happen to have information that's not from October through December, but actually from January of this year. So all my data is from the last quarter of last year, except for the top employer data. So top employers in the region, real-time labor market data as of last month. It's almost March, so saying last month, it's January. So top employers in the region in terms of IT focused and IT specific job openings and job postings are listed here: Boeing, Wells Fargo, Centene, AT&T, Leidos, KPMG, MasterCard, Sistel, Spectrum, the usual regional players. And this list comes from the number of job openings that were available in January, listed by these specific companies. Now, when we talk about now, next, later jobs, Noun describes jobs that someone can get right now with little or no experience or a high school diploma. Next next jobs or occupations that require some training, but it's typically a non-degree certificate or an associate's degree, so 2 years or less of training. And then later jobs are jobs that typically require 4 years or more of education or training. So in terms of the IT sector, the noun jobs that require very little training that someone can enter into right out of high school or with little to no training are sales support specialists and data entry specialists. The next jobs that require that non-degree certificate or an associate's degree are computer user support specialists. So just think about like help desk type jobs. Somebody calls in and says, hey, this is not working. And someone directs them or walks them through how to get the problem resolved. And then the later occupations that require the longer training or the at least bachelor's degree are security analysts, and also another subset of that is IT and network and security technicians. Now here are the job projections in the region by Jobs EQ, and these are occupations that have at least 1% growth, that will have 1% growth over the next year. And so I've listed them by job title or industry, the number of employees currently in our region in these roles, the average salary or average wages, and the number of jobs projected that will become available in the next year. So I've listed them in no particular order, but you will note that software engineers, there are about 13,000 of them employed right now in the region. And then if you go down a couple of lines, you'll see senior software engineer, and then there's substantially less of those jobs available in the region. And it pays, a little bit more, about 16,000 more. And then same thing with jobs projected, less jobs available. But that's one of those tracks that someone can get on in terms of that now, next, later. They can do the, go from the data entry to the computer user support to the software engineer, and then build up their credentials and then do the senior software engineer work, and then boost their annual wages by about $16,000. And so here are the jobs. This is what is available. This is still, as usual, a booming market. What we are finding is that in terms of IT, the security, that second job listed, that security technician, that's the world that the IT field is kind of pointing to right now. Things around security, cybersecurity, data. And what I do also want to note is that hopefully we'll see by the end of this year or the beginning of next year some growth in the region around geospatial work, geospatial jobs, mapping, even the entry-level stuff like mapping and coding, encoding encoding the actual map. So we're hoping to see some growth around that in the region. But right now, because NGA is not finished, hasn't opened, NGA West hasn't opened just yet, we do know that there are spaces that are training, there are organizations that are training in that space, like Gateway Global. We know that there are students that are high school students that are being trained in that space for that work. And there are apprenticeships going in that space, but right now the job projections aren't there because the jobs aren't available. And Jobs EQ, both Jobs EQ and Merrick look at jobs available, projections, and job openings. So that is the job and labor market data I have for you today in the IT space. If you have any questions, my email is in the slide deck that was sent out earlier, and I'd be happy to answer anything in the chat that Don lets me know is available.
Thank you so much, Tiff. Always great information from you. So I just want to pause for a moment. I feel like I'm moving a little bit fast. I didn't properly introduce myself. I am Dawn Richards. I'm with DESE. I'm the Career Pathways Director for the St. Louis region. So just so you know that who I am, and I'm not this strange lady just speaking to you all. Secondly, I failed to mention as well that you can put your questions in the chat. Someone is monitoring the chat to take your questions as you, anytime you come up with a question, just drop it in the chat and it will be addressed. As I said before, we do have a very full agenda for today, so we will address your questions in the chat. We kind of have a little bit of room for to address them at the end of each one's presentation. So the next portion of today will be done by Kevin Andert. He's with Special School District in St. Louis County. He has some great information for you. I saw what he's going to present to us when I was on a tour at North Technical High School, and it just really knocked my socks off. It's great information for young people to have an idea of what career pathways actually look like. So Kevin, without further ado.
Great. Thank you so much, Dawn, for the introduction. Hi, Kevin Andert. I'm Executive Director of Career and Technical Education in College and Career Readiness at Special School District. And a lot of times when you think about Special School District, your default is to think about special education, which that is about 93% of what we do. But then 7% of what we do is career and technical education with North Technical High School and South Technical High School, as well as we run an adult education LPN program. So that little realm, that little 7%, of the 100% of what we do, that's kind of my area, my niche of expertise. And so I'm gonna, Laura, is it possible for me to be able to share my screen to pull up those documents? Thank you. I'm gonna pull up a couple pieces that we have put together, really focusing on when you're working with young people, it's really hard to think, okay, we just saw all of those IT careers that Tiff just talked about. Now, where do I fit in that big wide puzzle of all the different options that exist? And so what we did was we built these documents that we refer to as our branch out posters. So down here at the bottom, this is what we'd use for someone who's thinking about the career in networking. And so when you look at the tree, starting at the bottom, you're a student in high school. You might be taking IT classes with us. You might be taking IT classes at your high school, anywhere in the state that has IT courses, or you might be going to another area career center like what we offer. And so then if I'm here, where do I go post-high school? So then we try to work with our advisory boards. So these are employers in the St. Louis metropolitan area in the field of information technology of, okay, now let's break this down. What can I do right out of high school? Versus if I go to a 2-year college, then what do my opportunities look like? And then what about if I go to a bachelor's degree? How do my opportunities change? And so we think this is a really good graphic for students to take a look and say, okay, as a high school student with a networking background, I could work as a computer support specialist. I could work as a technology support specialist. I could be on the sales side of IT. So there's a place for me in this field if I want to just go straight to work. Then at the same time, if I want to move on to an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree, my opportunities are going to expand. Where when I move to a bachelor's degree, that's where software security engineer comes in, senior cybersecurity architect, network operations manager. All of those careers then become a possibility for that student. And we like this layout because as opposed to having it be linear, nothing says that a student can't go right out of high school and start working as a computer support specialist while they're pursuing a bachelor's degree or an associate's degree. So you might ping pong around between these jobs over the course of your career. The other piece, and I'm going to show a couple job descriptions that we also kind of factored in as we were building this out to show you that unlike a lot of other career fields, information technology leans really heavy on, or if you have related experience, then we can just bypass all of that formal degree piece and we can jump you to this position or that position depending on your certifications and related experience. So I've got a couple samples I'm going to show you of things we factored in that. So this is the networking pathway. We also had one that we put together. This is for our web and computer programming program, but really it's anything that's kind of front-end development, that's this pathway. And so again, if you're going to be starting here at the base of the tree as a high school student, you could be right out of high school, potentially be a web designer or a programmer or a software tester. But then your options are going to expand as you work your way up. So all the way at a bachelor's degree or higher, That's where software architect, that's where data scientists come into play. So again, the student has a lot of opportunity as they work their way up. So we like this piece kind of two ways. One, it's a good introductory conversation with a student who says, I'm thinking about this. I'm really not even sure what my post-secondary plan is. So if you're having an ICAP discussion with an 8th or 9th grader who's trying to figure out, okay, where do I even fit? What is my plan? This is a good starting point. And it also helps the student realize that if your plan changes along the way, there's still opportunity for you. Where if you decide, you know what, I don't think I want to go to college, I think I want to go right to work, that's okay, because this was already part of your plan. Your plan was you wanted to get into this field, and so let's figure out where that fits in now that your post-secondary plan has shifted a little bit. So these are a piece, we use them especially with middle school. It's a really simple graphic. We also tried to stick with photos that kind of anchor what the field is, but at the same time, we didn't want to show a whole lot of people's faces because we wanted students to be able to picture themselves in these careers, was our goal. And so now I'm going to show you a couple of job descriptions that we also kind of factored in, and one job description which is kind of a resource. And so we'll start with this one here. So this is for a front-end developer with Reviture, which is St. Louis based. And this is the other part that you're going to see is kind of different when you look at IT job descriptions as opposed to other job descriptions is I consider them to be more fun. They're pretty blunt about what they're looking for. And they're also going to try and show why would you pick them over someone else, because there's a lot of other places that you could go. And so this is for a front-end developer. They're looking for a college degree, but they don't care if it's an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree. Basically a desire to learn. Do you want to learn more? And that you don't have to have any professional experience. If you've just done some education, they'll take you. And then they're hitting on problem solving, communication skills, all those soft skills that you normally hear people talk about. And then it's a very simple application that they have for front-end developer. Then if you look at a more corporate style business, so this is Spire. And so Spire advertising for a network engineer, you're going to see under their requirements, they are calling out you need to have a bachelor's degree. So they're looking for a bachelor's degree in computer science, business information systems, or related discipline. But they leave this caveat out there of or equivalent experience. That if you're a person who's been in the field 10, 15 years, and you have everything else that's listed below under required knowledge, skills, and abilities, they're willing to bypass that 4-year degree if you have all of this additional knowledge. Because also in IT, that's where you're going to have professional certifications come into play. So a couple of them down there at the bottom, you see CCNA and CCNP. So those are both Cisco-based certifications. So CCNA is Cisco Certified Network Associate. CCNP is kind of the step up from that, Cisco Certified Networking Professional. And so in some cases in this career path, those certifications mean more to an employer than the degree, because the certification tells the employer, this person has verified they know how to fill in the blank. And so very quickly by seeing those certifications, the employer can identify, this is the job. If you have your CCNA, you should be able to do this career path. And then here's another one, and this is for Acropolis Technologies. You may hear them advertise on the radio because they're a company that's growing pretty fast. And so they're hiring, this is a network administrator position. And so they talk about all the, what's a day in the life. And then know these things forwards and backwards of these specific skills. And then they call out, okay, here's what we're looking for. And they're looking for people, as you see, besides CCNA and CCNP, everything else is talking about what type of person are you? Are you analytical? Are you a person that doesn't like being, like, this is why I say they're fun, allergic to boredom, a people person, excited to exceed client expectations. They're really telling you what type of person we're looking for. If you've got a CCNA or a CCNP, then we can work with you as long as you're this type of person. And that's one of the really neat things about IT is culture varies greatly from employer to employer. And they know that you can leave. And so if the culture isn't something that fits you, you probably will take your talent elsewhere. Yeah, this was my favorite, is over-engineered your home network for the fun of it. Like if that's you, and you can probably think of students who you know who have done things like that of, okay, are you that student who's going to take this apart, not because it's broken, but you just felt like taking it apart? Okay, this might actually be a fit for you. So this is a job description. I share this all with Laura, so it can be shared with you guys afterwards. But I think these are a good starting point for especially high school juniors and seniors to look at of, it's not all dry, because that's the challenge with IT is when you look at it, especially the technical aspect of it, it can feel really dry. And that's where okay, but you need to know our culture, and this is kind of who we are. And who we are is we do like to have fun. Just our fun, some people might consider it to be more nerdy, but it's really enjoyable if you like this type of work. So if you don't like being bored, you like problem solving, you like taking things apart, you like solving riddles, that's us. And then the last one, this is a resource. I really like Spectrum as a company, so formerly Charter Communications. They really took a deep dive into the way they promote positions and what they want to do. And this is for all their careers. It's not just their IT careers, but they have a lot in the IT realm. So this is field technician. They start with a very quick blurb about who they are. And then when you're looking at a job, they start with this infographic here at the top. So this is really easy for students to comprehend of, okay, it's a full-time job, it's entry level, you're gonna be working outside. That's why they got the lightning bolt in the cloud, like, okay, got that. And then they're looking for somebody who's tech savvy, but they're willing to train you. And then every one of their jobs has this success profile. And it's just a series of individual words that are kind of walking you through, do these words describe you? And if they do, this is probably a good fit. And every one of their career paths, the success profile was put together by people currently working in that field. So how would you describe yourself if you're a field technician? So you're going to see stuff like problem solver, adaptable, detail-oriented, creative, competent. So if you're working with a high school student who says, you know what, I'm thinking about possibly doing a career in this area, Spectrum has and even Spectrum also does customer service. Spectrum also does sales. So I steal Spectrum stuff on a pretty regular basis because it's just a good template and allows students to quickly look at those words and say, hey, nothing on the screen describes me here. Okay, well then this might not be a good fit. Let's look at something else that might still be in the realm, but be a different pathway. And then they also, again, because they really want you to work for them, they've included testimonials from people who work currently in the field. So if you've looked at the words and say, yep, that's me, okay, well, let me hear from people who are doing the job right now. And they talk about why they like it, looking back, what do you wish you knew more? And this is this question here of looking back, what do you wish you knew? They do that for all their career paths. So any job opening they have, you can watch a quick 30-second video from somebody who's in the job now telling you, hey, if I could do it all over again, here's the one thing I want to know. And then they talk a little bit about a day in the life. And then that's where they get into benefits and all those types of things, paid time off. But really, if you can't get past this success profile, there's no reason to keep scrolling. If you look at the success profile and say, those words don't describe me, then, okay, let's move on. And so that's how we use these pieces in tandem. When we're working with 8th and 9th graders, we'll start here with the branch out poster and talk a little bit about their post-secondary pathway. Then as we move to 10th and 11th graders, that's where we're gonna start drilling in a little bit more of, okay, now let's look at some job descriptions. Let's look at some of those words that are out there that Spectrum uses to describe these different careers that you might be looking at, to helping the students start to filter those pieces out. Because even if they're going to go post-secondary and they say, you know what, I know I'm doing a 4-year degree, let's make sure you pick the right 4-year degree. Because based off of where you want to go, you know what, computer science might be a good fit, but you could also possibly do a software development degree. Or you know what, turns out you're actually better off just doing an associate's degree for where you want to head and layering on some of these industry certifications. And so let's make sure you're signed up for the A+ program, and let's make sure you got all your ducks in a row. Or you say you're going 4-year, but 2-year might also get you to your goal. So let's make sure we've got both plans ready to go. And then senior year, you can make an informed decision of which pathway, which will both get you to your desired endpoint, is the best fit for you. So that's really the direction that we try and use these pieces together, is we want to use them in tandem. The branch out poster is kind of a good intro. Then let's circle to some job descriptions. And then if we look at some job descriptions, we say, nope, I don't think those are a good fit. Let's circle back to the branch out poster again and figure out, okay, maybe there's something else on this tree that might fit for you. Or this is the other thing we layer on is we might have a student in Cisco who is doing networking and has made the realization, the only thing I liked about this was the programming that I did with Python. Okay, well then you should be looking at programming opportunities, not networking administration opportunities, and let's connect those dots. So let's take that one aspect of this program that you really did like, because that's a totally different career path. That's not normally a part of network administration, but it's still in IT. So let's connect those dots. All right. So were there any questions?
Kevin, there is nothing in the chat yet in terms of questions, but there were a couple comments. Jim Kavanaugh announced that they will be hiring over 1,000 people at Worldwide Technology this year.
That was announced like 2 days ago.
Oh, wow.
And then Jen Glassmeyer said, great resume, cover letter, filler words. Very helpful, great presentation, very helpful. So no questions yet. Anybody have any questions?
The links will be provided today, soon with all of the information from today. So don't fret, everybody. You'll get all of this information, and it's also recorded. So you will be able to go back and watch again if you need to, if you miss something, or the slides will be available. Kevin's information will be available that he's presented as well. So all of that's going to be available to you.
Great. And nothing that I presented today is proprietary. We put it together, but if you wanted to take our logo off and drop your thing on it, or if you wanted to cover it up, or you wanted to replicate that piece in another way that works better for your student population, we don't own the idea. So if it's easier for you just to roll with what we've already developed, more than welcome. If you want to take it and tweak it, won't hurt my feelings at all. If you say, you know what, I like it, but I don't like this part about it and I want to delete all that, that's okay.
It's excellent information and what students need. So thank you, Kevin, for that awesome information that I think our students will greatly benefit from. So we're going to move on.
Don, real quick.
Yeah.
The presentation, is that going to be posted somewhere or emailed out? How are the people going to receive that?
Laura, you want to speak to that real quick?
Yeah, I've posted it twice in the chat. I'll post it again, the whole slide deck. And then the handouts from Kevin, I just didn't have time to get them integrated into this morning. I apologize for that. So I will send them as attachments to the email later today with the links to everything. Everything
Great.
Also gets posted to our website, and I put that link in the chat too. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's still time for a question, I might have one. So to me, it seems like IT is very special or different in the sense that it's moving so fast that the certifications are more important than the actual degree that you receive. If I heard that right?
So it can be. It really depends on the employer. It also depends somewhat on the certification as well. Some certifications carry more weight than others. One thing you'll hear about in IT is as soon as a certification rolls out, there begins to be a thing called a brain dump where people basically post, hey, if you just want to pass the test, here's how you pass the test. And so the certifications that have more of a practical application as well as a written examination oftentimes carry more weight or require a training program ahead of time. But the certifications are a quick way to differentiate yourself and show what skills you have. So things like if you're applying for a help desk position, CompTIA A+ is really a starting point certification that if you have that, it's going to show the employer, I've got some pretty strong basic knowledge. Doesn't tell you how good I am at customer service, doesn't tell you that I'm going to fit into the culture of your company, but from a technical side, it tells you I've got some pretty good baseline skills that can probably do the job.
So I guess what I'm wondering though is there's different people create these certifications, and then it's really just the reputation of the certification that makes it valuable. Is that right?
Yeah, and a lot of them are like the CCNA and CCNP. Those are made by Cisco, Worldwide Technology, Cisco. So Cisco is a global company, and so the backing behind their certifications is pretty meaningful. Whereas other independent certifications might not carry as much weight. So it really depends on what aspect you're in of IT, because that's the challenge, like on the web and computer programming side, there really isn't a set certification that you need to have in programming. It's really going to come down to skills and more your portfolio of work of what you know how to do. Whereas on the other side, on the networking side, there are some pretty globally accepted certifications that are going to differentiate what you know how to do from somebody that doesn't have those certifications.
If I might add one thing, also as the world of programming and Python is getting integrated into networking, Cisco now has their Cisco DevNet certifications, and it is very heavy. The world of networking is blending right into programming, and so that's the future of networking. I'm at STLCC and do the Cisco Academy, so that's kind of where I'm from. So I just thought I would add that in as just kind of the worlds are blending together between network security and programming.
And then we had a couple more comments from Amber with CyberUp. She says, in our experience, companies are looking more for certifications and a college degree, and they also want you to have hands-on experience, even for entry-level positions. Thank you, Amber.
Thank you all. I told you it's a jam-packed session today. A lot of information. Could be overwhelming, but thankfully the slides will be available for you, and there's everyone's providing their information to contact them later if you have additional questions. And as we see, we expanded the time frame for 2 hours. We normally do an hour and a half so that we could get everything, there's so much information we could get in. So just take heed that the slides and the additional information will be available to you very shortly, either today or at least by Monday. So we're going to move on. In addition to the opportunities that we've presented or the information we've presented before, we're going to talk to hear from a few people who have opportunities for our young people to actually experience some things in the IT field. So we're going to hear from Joseph Kelly from Cyber Games. He's a Cyber Games alum, actually. He was actually experienced Cyber Games, and he's going to talk about his experience. Lindsay Forsyth from STL Youth Jobs, Lynn Wang from Launch Code, and Marissa Griffin Luna from Girls Who Code. And I won't stop in between. I'll just let you guys pick up. We may see if we have a little time after each presentation to see questions, but be sure to put your questions in the chat so that we can address them as we go along. So I'm going to turn it over to, she took the screen away, and it was Joe. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's me. My name is Joe. I am a current senior at Collegiate School of Medicine and Bioscience, but don't let the name fool you. We also have a sprawling computer science program that I'm so glad I was able to be a part of. And today I'm talking about the Power Up Cyber Games, a cybersecurity competition that has just opened my eyes specifically to a whole new world of computer science. You can go to the next slide. So I'm talking about what are the games, who I think is a good student to compete, how to enroll in the games, when and where these competitions are held, and then finally my favorite competition. And we can go right into what are Power Up Cyber Games. So the Power Up Cyber Games are a monthly youth cybersecurity competition series. It's a team competition where you work together to solve cybersecurity problems. And that could be something as simple as, simple cryptography, decoding a message in binary or hexadecimal, to parsing through thousands of logs to find an exploit. And I really mean thousands. We've spent so much time doing that. You can go to the next slide. Yeah, so next I'll be talking about who I think should compete. So I think anyone interested in technology. My school specifically has 7 teams with students ranging from our entry coding classes to me, a senior that has already completed all the comp sci courses we offer and is now currently a TA for one of them. And I really think that this is a great opportunity because cybersecurity isn't something that, you know, you always hear about the coding classes. You know, we're learning web development or Python or, you know, your robotics team, but not really cybersecurity. And I think it's such a cool field. So more specifically, the students you're looking for are going to be the ones seeking a challenge, you know, the puzzle solvers, the ones who want to learn. You get 3 hours for this competition, and trust me, most teams don't finish all the questions into 3 hours. They're extremely hard and can take a lot of critical thinking. And then also students that can work in a team, because I think teamwork is the biggest key to success in these games, as I'll show you later how my team collaborates. And go to the next slide. So next is just going to be how to enroll. Mr. Mike Bryan, who has been talking, you can email him at powerup@wecyberup.org. Email him for pricing questions, just general questions, and there is some more info at the link you can see on screen now. And yeah, next slide, please. So now the fun stuff, when and where the competition's held. So games are going to be once a month from November to May. They last for 3 hours, and you can do it anytime over the 3-day span that they held the competitions on. My team has always done it like Friday around 3 o'clock, right after our physics class. So you join the games through their website, which I'll show you in a sec. And when you aren't competing, you can be practicing through the gyms. And these gyms are just to introduce you into the topics that will be in the competition. My teams have always used a Slack channel where we collaborate on the gyms, you know, a week and a half, 2 weeks before the games, and really a couple days before the games, and help prepare for the competitions, help each other prepare for the competitions. So on the next slide, we'll see the dashboard for the website. So it's Cyber Skyline's website. You can see at the top, that was the most recent thing. We weren't that happy with our performance, but we still got 4th place. It was very hard competition. And here you could access, you know, all the previous stuff, see the leaderboards, where you landed, and then most importantly, the practice gym, which I'll show you on the next slide. So this is just a quick snapshot of the very first practice gym. On the right, it's just a bunch of questions, and this is what you'll see in the actual competitions. It's a module where you input your answer, and there's a question on the left. And on the left, you can see there's helpful resources, like what are number bases? And this was the very first one, kind of the introduction to cryptography. And also in these gyms, which is really helpful, is like the answer document, as it tells you how to go through most of the answers and what tools to use. And trust me, these tools are very helpful. They recommended like all the free tools like Wireshark and Hashcat, and you know, even some online tools like Crypty or Rapid Tables. And yeah, I think these are super helpful, and they're just in-depth enough to where you can compete if you want off these gyms, but also it really encourages you to go and, you know, do a little bit of your own research. And then the next slide, I'll just show a little snapshot of like our Slack page. This is how my team and I have always communicated. As you can see at the top, we're sending MAC addresses to each other, IP addresses. We do a Zoom call so that we're always talking to each other, but you know, sending stuff like talking through an IP address while someone's working on a different module can be kind of stressful over a Zoom call. So we kind of do this, and this again plays into how helpful teamwork is in the competition. I really don't think we could do as well as we do if we didn't have something like a Slack channel or a Discord channel, and if we were just using like a like the chat box in a Zoom meeting. And then next slide. And I'll be ending my presentation today with my favorite competition. So in the pilot season, we had a competition where we were extracting information through network analysis, parsing through the packets that move back and forth, you know, when two servers interact with each other. I worked on the last problem of the challenge, and I was able to like take the logs from a call between, I think I was a barber and someone in a suit rental shop or something. And I was able to listen to a recording of the call and answer the questions in the challenge. I think it was so cool. And my excitement when I like finally cracked the code and was able to listen to the call was just great. And it was so cool to think I was able to listen to this call just from the packets being sent back and forth. And more importantly, a free software that I downloaded, Wireshark is what I used. And that's what CyberUp told me to download in the gym, and it helped immensely with this module. And yeah, that is the end of my little presentation today. Just quick overview, the CyberUp Power Up Cyber Games, and yeah, a great experience I've had throughout high school.
That's awesome. Thank you, Joe. It's great to hear a student's perspective that's actually been he's not even working in the field yet, but he's on his way. So thank you for that. We'll hear from Lindsay next.
Thank you, Dr. Don, and good morning, everyone. Fantastic job, Joe. And also, before I get started, I just want to give a shout out to Mike and Amber at CyberUp. Mike was fantastic and patient with me last year as I was trying to connect our youth to the cyber games, and Amber is an amazing supervisor for our youth participants. So hi guys, thank you so much for your support of STL Youth Jobs. I'm Lindsay Forsyth, the Director of Employer Relations at STL Youth Jobs. Hopefully most of you are familiar with our organization, but in short, STL Youth Jobs is a summer youth employment program. We connect 15 to 24-year-olds to jobs during the summer, as well as provide them with training and mentorship through the form of a job coach. Here's our mission statement. So as you can see, we not only connect youth to job opportunities that they need to succeed, but we also work with businesses to ensure that they have the workforce they need to compete. Also work with them to develop their talent pipelines and connect them again to young adults who are looking for employment. You can go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So we are really excited that in 2021, we're launching a new program called Discover You. Not only is this a new program for STL Youth Jobs, but we are very thrilled that we're able to now serve a younger group of youth. We will be working with 14 and 15-year-olds for Discover You. It is a career exploration program, and actually this came directly from our transition last summer in light of COVID, where we had to essentially place all of our youth in a virtual online workforce academy for the majority of the summer. So in 2020, the youth, as opposed to going on site to jobs, which is our typical model, because of COVID and the ongoing uncertainty and public health concerns, we created an online workforce academy where young people were doing online workforce simulations, career exploration modules, learning about different pathways. And we transitioned that into Discover You, which we're now officially adding to our service delivery models. Again, it's for 14 and 15-year-olds. It will be primarily online. They'll be doing career pathway exposure modules. They will be they'll be doing job readiness training, professional development, and they will also do 20 hours of job shadowing with businesses and companies. We're hoping that that will be in person primarily, but we also expect that some of it will be virtual. So we're really excited to add this to our program. And then of course the Discover You participants will also receive job readiness training and financial literacy training that all of our participants receive. The financial literacy component also includes connection to a bank account, enrollment in direct deposit, and assistance in diverting some of their earnings into savings if they would like to do that. And then finally, Discover You participants will also be connected to a job coach who will support them as they're working throughout the summer. The payment for Discover You will be stipend based. So as the youth go through the modules and complete the different platforms, they can be paid a stipend upon completion. Next slide, please. So again, we're really excited about the launch of this program, looking at connecting young people to career exposure before they begin working at a business or organization. We're excited that they'll gain an understanding of skill requirements for different industries. They'll get a better knowledge of workplace expectations and those soft skills that we all know are so important. They will get a broader awareness of the jobs and careers that are out there and how their skills and interests align with those different pathways. And then of course, through the financial literacy component, we hope to see that they will have improved money management skills and a greater understanding of financial management practices. And then finally, as with all of our programs, we've seen that young people, after participating with STL Youth Jobs, have enhanced self-esteem and self-confidence as it relates to the work environment. So we're really excited to see how 14 and 15-year-olds are more confident looking for their first job once they're ready to start working at 16 after their participation in Discover You. Next slide, please. This is our flagship program that STL Youth Jobs has offered since our inception in 2016. I'll go through this really briefly. I know the focus here is mostly on career exploration, but I just wanted to mention our other service delivery models as well. So summer work experience connects 16 to 24-year-olds to entry-level job opportunities in a variety of industries and sectors. We really look at their interests and their skills, what they want to gain from their summer work experience, and then connect them to jobs that are available. Summer work experience youth also receive job readiness training and financial literacy training as well, and they are connected to a job coach who supports them throughout the summer. This year, summer work experience youth will make $10.50 an hour. They're paid through STL Youth Jobs program providers, and they can work up to 25 hours per week for 160 total hours. Next slide, please. And then finally, the Career Accelerator Pathway is the program that we established in 2019. It connects STL Youth Jobs and St. Louis internship alumni to job opportunities that are directly aligned to their career and post-secondary interests. So CAP youth are connected to more intermediate level job opportunities, again, that are really aligned with their long-term career goals. Because they are alumni of STL Youth Jobs or SLIP, they've worked before through one of our programs. They're a little bit older, so they're 18 to 24, and they're enrolled in a post-secondary or college program. They, of course, receive the job readiness training and financial literacy training that other youth do as well. But Career Accelerator youth are also connected to enhanced training opportunities and professional development opportunities as they work throughout the summer. They work with a job coach just like the other youth in the program do. And they can also work 25 hours per week for 160 hours total over the summer. And they will be paid $12.50 this year. Next program. Whew, I went really fast. I was trying to get in my 7 minutes there. I don't know if we have time for questions, but I'm happy to take any questions if there are some, or also happy to wait until the end. I think if we want to go to the next slide, just really quickly, my contact information is there. I'm the Employer Relations Director, so I primarily focus on recruiting businesses and organizations to work with our youth over the summer, but I'm happy to answer any youth-focused questions, or you can contact my colleague, Jerica Robinson, who really handles the programmatic aspects. Additionally, I just want to say that our application is open now. So for all three programs, your students can go to stlyouthjobs.org/apply and access the application. They'll determine if they're eligible for our programming, and then there's one application for all three programs. And again, it is open now.
Lindsay, I have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
What students are eligible for the STL Youth Jobs?
Yeah, great question. So this year we will serve 15 to 24-year-olds. Next year we'll add in 14-year-olds. But for this year, if they are between 15 and 24 years old and they live in one of our target neighborhoods or municipalities, then they can apply online and they would be eligible. And we serve 32 neighborhoods in St. Louis and 33 municipalities in St. Louis County. Sorry, 32 neighborhoods in the city, 33 municipalities in the city. primarily North City and South City, and then North St. Louis County. So they would just go to our website. There's a list of all of the neighborhoods and municipalities there, but they can also go to the website if they're between 15 and 24 and enter their address, and it will let them know if they're eligible for the program. And then they're accepted on a first come, first served basis.
Great. And is the CAP program open to college students that have not participated in any other STL youth programs?
It's open to alumni of the St. Louis internship program. That's a separate youth employment program from ours, so they are eligible. We also have some special partnerships, so with College Bound and some other organizations within St. Louis that those youth can access, but it's primarily open to alumni of STL Youth Jobs and SLIP.
Those are all the questions in the chat.
Great, and I'll just make one more plug. If any of your schools are looking for youth workers this summer, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to connect some of our youth participants to job opportunities within the school districts as well. Thank you all.
Thank you, Lindsay. Lynn?
Hi, thank you. So I had a little bit problem with the slides compatibility, so I'm going to share my screen here. Can someone give me a head, like maybe thumb up if you can see my screen? Great, thank you, Mike. So my name is Lynn. I'm Chief Program Officer here at LaunchCode. If you haven't heard about LaunchCode before, we're an organization that are committed to helping people finding their a career in technology. We believe that if you want a job in technology, then you should deserve opportunity to do so. So we try to achieve our mission in mostly two types of programs. The first is our education program. We have a number of range of different free technical training for individuals to look towards learning some new skills and eventually start a new career in tech. And after the education, whether you get it from LaunchCode or if an individual get it from college or a online program or a boot camp, we can help those individuals look for jobs in our apprenticeship programs. Right now, we operate in 4 major locations across the country. We also do work with employers across in the other locations when they have talent need as well. So far, in a relatively short 6-7 years time, we have launched over 2,000 careers in tech to date. We are all in here and we heard the opening remarks, so we understand the importance of digital skills in this time. But I do want to mention that we are very, very committed to providing our programs for free to individuals at no financial cost. This is really, really important to us as an organization because we recognize not everyone has the financial means to get those skills, and we want to help people remove that barrier as much as we can. For our adult learners who complete our program and get a job, we see typically they more than double their previous salary. So after a short introduction about LaunchCode, you probably realize that most of our program are a little bit adult focused because our mission is to help people find that career, which is true. But we do have some opportunities for high school students that I'm going to introduce next. The very first one is our Discovery program. This is a career exposure program, and it is completely free, as with all our programs, and hosted completely online. And this program is for beginners to learn a little bit more about the fundamental skills that's required in the field of computer programming. And it is important, this program is important because we know a lot of people often wonder, hey, can I do it? I don't know. Maybe a person need a lot of education or be super good at math in order to do it. And if you are one of those people that ever wondering whether computer programming would be a good career choice for you, you should sign up. You would be a good fit, including our great high school students, being curious about all different career choices. It's free and online, and you can always just go to launchcode.org/discovery, and there would be a huge button there that link you to the course website. It is self-paced online curriculum. It's divided into 6 modules and covering concepts such as basic logic and math and study habits. So it is really, really good for just kids and adults alike. It is designed to be completed in over 1 to 2 months of time. Although you can take longer, we encourage people to sort of carve out a little bit of time each week to just finish a module maybe each week, and then you can finish them in about 6 weeks. You really don't have to be a math genius. There is a module on basic math, but all we needed is some basic algebra skills, and that's something we use as adults in life. So if you know, but really in the field, it's more important to be in the space of being analytical and thinking about problem solving in a very logic way, and that's more important, and often being creative, because a lot of these days is about creating product design concept. So you may be surprised that you could be a very good fit for computer programming. Another program that I would like to really point out to our career counselors today is a relatively new program that called Launch Code High School program. This is a little bit different from all our other educational programs. Well, most our education programs, we go to teach and deliver that content on our own. This one is really, the goal is to empower high schools and high school teachers to be able to teach their students. So the entire program, we are providing high school to an affordable curriculum, which is adapted from one of our high quality web development curriculum. And we are also giving teachers tools and trainings and ongoing support to prepare them as a computer science instructors. The curriculum is adapted to fit a 2-semester academic year to fit a high school schedule, and also meet the state curriculum standards. Throughout this year, we host 2 to 3 centralized training during, I think, spring, summer, and winter break, and we train these teachers. And when your semester is going on, we provide some online support, such as workshops, as well as being able to answer your questions in the Slack channel. Right now, we are in the active recruiting period for the second year of the program. So we have 5 schools that participated in our first year pilot. Next year, in 2021 to 2022, we really would like to expand that to more than 10 schools. So if you're interested, you can find out more on launchcode.org/LCHS, and you can write to me directly. My name is Lynn, and the email first name lynn@launchcode.org. I will make sure to connect you with one of our people that can help you learn a little bit more. So with that, I will stop share and see whether there's any questions. And if not, I will continue to monitor the chat and then can answer from there. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name's Marissa, and I'm really excited to be telling you more about Girls Who Code and our summer immersion program. First thing, since our time is super limited, I just want to point out that you can fill out this form by either following the QR code here, or I will pop it into the chat quick as well. And if you fill out that Google form, I will get back to you, send you something with all the information about our program, and I can answer questions directly in that format as well. And with that, I'm going to dive right in. So Girls Who Code is an international nonprofit that's working to close the gender gap in technology. And we're doing this by providing completely free programs like our virtual summer immersion program. And that's what I'm going to focus on today. And I'll be referring to our virtual summer immersion program as SIP. On this next slide, you can see here that SIP is a completely free 2-week virtual program for current 9th through 11th graders to learn the computer science skills that they need to make an impact in their communities and to prepare for a career in tech. So this slide is actually showing you the 3 main components of this program. The first one is careers. So students spend their summer with the world's top companies, and they have access to a more engaging experience in the tech field by hearing from guest speakers, participants, and participating in workshops and connecting with inspiring women in the industry. And the second one is skills and impact. So students are learning these computer science skills through real hands-on projects rather than just us lecturing at them, right? So in week 1, students will build 2 projects. One is a personal portfolio website, and the other is a BuzzFeed-style personality quiz. In week 2, they'll work on a final personal project that is focused on activism and web design. So this project is really designed to get them thinking about how to have an impact in their communities. And this third one is sisterhood. This is a main component of Girls Who Code. So once they join SIP, they'll become a lifelong member of our supportive sisterhood. So we're sticking with them not just for the 2 weeks, but for their entire careers as well. And our curriculum is designed to show them that they can become problem solvers in their community while they make friendships and professional connections all along the way. And they will learn about women in technology, past and present, and will be encouraged to take positive risks and collaborate with other students to strengthen resilience, curiosity, emotional intelligence, and a real sense of empowerment. And then on this next slide, you can really briefly see here who is eligible for the program. So SIP is open to girls and non-binary students who are current 9th, 10th, and 11th graders. So that's rising sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And we especially encourage students to apply who are from backgrounds that are underrepresented in computer science. So that includes students in low-income communities, students of color, and students who have little or no exposure to computer science education in school already. And I also really want to highlight that this program is geared towards beginners. So we welcome all levels of ability, but if your students happen to already have extensive experience with HTML, CSS, or JavaScript, then this might not be the right program for them. But if they have experience in other coding languages, but want to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, then I really do encourage that they apply. And on that note, I'll also mention that these coding languages are for web development, and they do not rely on math skills at all. Then here on this next slide, you can see our program dates. And for each round, we offer classes in Eastern, Central, and Pacific time zones. So your students have some choice of what times they're participating in. They can apply to any of them. And the real key thing to note here is that participants must be able to commit to the entire 2-week program during the hours and the time zone that they select on their application. So this means that they have the option to select availability for 3 different rounds over the summer. The more they select, certainly the more opportunity they have to get placed, but we don't want them to miss any of those dates once they are placed. And then on the next slide, I'll briefly cover our application process so you know what you're directing your students to. So our application is super quick and easy. Most students take just 15 or 30 minutes to complete it. And applicants are asked to respond to a short answer question about why they are interested and what they hope to learn. But we don't ask for GPAs or transcripts or any recommendations. And after submitting their general application, they do have the option of continuing on to complete a stipend application. So the stipend is a need-based financial grant, and it's a completely separate form. So if they need funding for the summer, they must make sure to fill out and submit both the general application and the stipend funding application. And as you can see, the application deadline is quickly approaching. It's March 19th. So if you have students that you think will be a good fit for this program, it's a great time to be directing them to that application. And I'll also highlight here that while we're talking a bunch about tech and careers in computer science, that those students who are already interested in that path are really excellent for this program, but so are students who might not be thinking about that path already. I like to say that people who are interested in art, people who are interested in the medical field are really good fits for this program. I know farmers that use computer science, right? So it's really important for people to just have a baseline, because you never know when these skills might come in handy later down the road. Yeah, perfect. I see a question about what age groups are available or are eligible for the program. So it is current 9th, 10th, and 11th graders. And it's based on what class they're in, not on their grades. If there are any other questions, I'm happy to answer them, but otherwise, like I mentioned up top, I'm happy to answer questions via email, so you can either reach me directly or you can reach me through that Google form, and I'll just automatically send you all the information you need. I see one more question. How many students can be in class? That's a great question. So each of our classrooms will have about 60 students per classroom, with about 3 instructors per classroom as well. And we offer lots of different opportunities for learning all together, also in smaller groups, and also one-on-one with instructors. And nationwide, though, we're placing about 6,000 students. So there's lots of opportunities for your students to get placed in a classroom with us. Great question. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marissa. It's happened to us again, guys. We're running behind on time because we have so much information, and it's all very valuable. Don't get me wrong. It's very valuable. We appreciate it all, but we're going to keep it moving. So if you do have questions, we're going to address them in the chat. If anyone who's speaking could kind of monitor the chat as well. Mike is on point with questions in the chat as well. He's monitoring that. So just put your questions in the chat and we'll definitely be sure to get them answered. So we're going to move right along with our post-secondary programs that are available, and we're going to start with Amber. And if you know your name's coming up next, to keep me from talking so much, to take up your time, just move right in when the person is finished, and we can keep it going to make sure you get to hear from everyone. Thank you.
All right. Hello, my name's Amber Lowry. I'm the program director for Cyber Up. I have my caffeine in me, so I will make this quick. So we are going to talk about our program. Next slide. So for those of you who are not familiar with Cyber Up, we are nonprofit organizations whose mission is to cultivate the cybersecurity talent pipeline. We do that through training adults through our apprenticeship program and inspiring youth through our Power Up Cyber Games, like you just heard from Joe. So why cybersecurity? There you go. Cybersecurity is actually a growing industry. As you saw earlier today, it has great opportunities for career advancement and growth. And just in the St. Louis area, for example, the entry-level salary expectation is anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 a year. So what is the industry looking for? For those of you, you don't have to be good at math. They don't have to play video games. They don't have to even have taken apart a computer before. Really what the industry is looking for is, are they a problem solver? Do they work well on teams? Are they a lifelong learner, just naturally inquisitive? Do they have that grit and determination to figure out a problem? And do they have great communication skills? So if they have these core attributes, any of us, InPower, Launch Code, Cyber Up, we can all teach these technical skills. Next slide. So we have a pre-apprenticeship program. I'm going fast, advancing, click, click, click. We have a pre-apprenticeship program that prepares candidates for success in Cyber Up's apprenticeship program. So you don't have to have any prior IT knowledge or experience. They have to be 18 years and older, but they can apply for or register for our information session before they're 18. So in their senior year, the next info session that's coming up, they can go ahead and apply for it. We'll just get them started as soon as possible. But they do need a high school diploma or GED, and then just eligible to work in the United States. We do have a $100 application fee, which covers their background costs and some materials, but that is their only hard cost that they will incur. We have found other ways to fund the training to make it accessible for everyone. Next slide. So we focus on getting everyone caught up on the A+, Network Plus, and Security Plus. So at the end of their pre-apprenticeship training, we will actually pay for the CompTIA voucher for the Security Plus certification. And once they earn that, now they are eligible to be placed with the company for their paid on-the-job training with our apprenticeship program. Next slide. Okay, so our apprenticeship program. It is a paid on-the-job training in the actual career field. So the only qualifications for that is that you need your Security Plus certification. So if candidates, maybe they've already graduated and they happen to have that, they can go straight to placement. So it's a 1 year of on-the-job training. We actually turn on additional curriculum, so then they can earn these stackable credentials. If you hit one more time, you'll see that the pay starting salary is at least $15 an hour. So then what they will earn at the end of their paid apprenticeship program is the Department of Labor Journeyman certification as a cybersecurity analyst, as well as one more industry recognized certification. So that might be your CISA Plus, or maybe they wanted to get networking or certified ethical hacker. It doesn't matter. We're just focusing on those stackable credentials that are recognized worldwide. Next slide. Okay, so next steps. Our next information sessions, either the 25th, May 25th, or May 26th. Like I said, they don't have to be 18 years yet or have graduated from high school yet to go ahead and sign up for this. So encourage them to sign up. They'll get there. So there's the link to sign up for the next information session. They need to attend the virtual information session. We'll go in a little more depth of what's expected. And then that's really their first step to applying for our program. Next slide. Yep, that's it, short and sweet.
Thank you, Amber. We'll have Dr. Henning Losa Bush from SLU.
All right, I'm Henning Losabush from St. Louis University, and I work at the Geospatial Institute here at the university, and we can hop to the next slide. I put some information in the chat, and this is my first time doing this type of thing, so I hope I'm not missing the mark. But I figured I'd take one quick moment to talk geospatial and how we really moved from old school maps and compasses to an amazing array of digital representations of the world. And if you have students that are interested, they can try, for example, to just download Google Earth. You can do it on the web interface, but actually download the real Google Earth Pro. And it's amazing. The Earth is digitized. You can check it out. I sometimes spend time with my 5- and 4-year-olds just randomly visiting places around the Earth through Google Earth. So it's really cool. You can catch the bug that way. And then using some of these digitized world pieces, you can merge it with actual data. So on the right, this is through a phone app using augmented reality or live view, where you can put arrows overlaid with the real feed that comes from the camera of your phone. And then underneath is just an example of St. Louis, and I was literally driving my electric car, and the green dots that are hard to see basically show the state of charge of the battery. So geospatial, from maps and compasses all the way to omnipresent, we're all generating geospatial data on our phones. So we can move to the next slide. So what's interesting about geospatial is it seems to be something like IT, and it couples with IT. So geospatial sciences in and of itself are the map, the world, how do we position ourselves on the world, so GPS systems, longitude, latitudes, the map, and that in and of itself is a science, and it's really, it seems easy because we do it every day, but the background of it is very, very complicated. And then there's two elements that graph onto that. One is this idea of remote sensing, where you can use satellite images or drones coupled with really special equipments like cameras that can see the unseen. So hyperspectral cameras, LiDARs that map the world in 3D, thermal cameras, things of that nature. So that's how to acquire data. And once you have this wide swath of data with geolocation or location attached to it, it really turns into a big analytics problem of big data using artificial intelligence, machine learning, and computer coding and data management. So this package is really now, this package, which is a science and technologies in and of itself, can be turned into a more simple tool that can be applied to really all kinds of problems, from precision agriculture. We're having some interesting projects going on with the Danforth Science Center, to mapping out social inequities. One of our directors at the Institute is specialized in that, and links to the census reports, for example. Climate change, disaster response, emerging technologies. Really, it's amazing the breadth of disciplines that this can be applied to. So we can move to the next slide. And I apologize for going relatively quickly here, but for the sake of time. So this is just an example of agriculture, for example, where we have some challenges like water management, fertilizing the fields, disease detection, invasive species, sustainability of farming. Those are all big challenges, and remote sensing and geospatial sciences can solve that by acquiring data and literally mapping a field from above to tell farmers, you need to put a little bit more fertilizer in this corner of your field, less in that corner of your field, and watch your water management on the northeast side of the field. And in fact, it's all visualized in maps that are done through really the people that work on it. So the expertise, the person in the middle of the picture. And it's done through the big data processing, and it provides actionable solutions like better farming strategies, when to till the field, when to rotate the fields, better connection to the supply chain, also some automations. You can have tractors these days that can autonomously drive themselves to plow the field or fertilize, or you can fertilize with drone technology. It's really amazing. And it can also accelerate the research. So now you can imagine this picture, but for healthcare delivery around either pandemic tracking or vaccine delivery, for example. The possibilities are endless in my mind. So if we go to the next slide, I think this is the part that you guys really want to see. Who can go into these GIS careers, and kind of what background do you need? So it's a lot of math and a lot of computer science and coding, as with a lot of the other careers we talked about here, sprinkled in with geography, so that sense of wonder around the world, which I find really amazing. So if you have any students that fall into that category, and if after you tell them to go check out Google Earth, you can't peel them away from the screen, they might be really good candidates for GIS careers. And there's some great work going on. I think in the chat somewhere, I saw somebody praise Gateway Global and Zakita. Absolutely. You don't need a master's degree in this. Now, I represent the university, so we do offer bachelor's, master's, and even PhDs in this, which is the geospatial science, but also certificates. And these certificates really span all these different disciplines. So for example, the geospatial health certificate is a great one, where really the expertise of the folks and the students lie on the health side, but they're using it as a tool to help them do their job better. I heard security analysts earlier, which was probably more related to cybersecurity, but the NGA, the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency in town, who's just putting in a new campus in the north of the city in St. Louis, at the tune of, I think, $1.7 billion, are looking for analysts all the time that have these geospatial skills. If you're interested, that's the next slide actually. So what are these careers? These careers are geospatial analysts. You can apply it to political science to try and map out the impact of regulations on the constituencies and mapping out some of those social inequities. Sometimes inadvertent policies are put in place and have consequences that weren't intended, but you can actually map them out in a powerful way. Software development and app developers. Every single app on our cell phone just generates a ton of geospatial data, for good or for bad, by the way. Yeah, so technology development around remote sensing, surveyors, renewable energy development. Again, the careers are just as endless as the possibilities I described earlier. And if we go to the next slide, here's a little bit of a flavor of some of the different areas that are covered by geospatial. This is the spring seminar series from our students here at St. Louis University. And if you look at it, you will see anything from plant sciences to premature birth and a race in Missouri, or the sport index is kind of interesting. Today, actually, we have a seminar that starts in 30 minutes, so I'm going to have to hop off a little early here, that relates to high schools or school district policies around COVID-19 and what the impact is. And I think that's it for me. If we go to the next slide, it's probably the next presenter. I did put a lot of links in the chat just beforehand here. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to try and answer them right now. Or please email me, as I have to leave early. And I'm always looking to make more connections around this. So thank you for the opportunity of letting me present today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Henning. Mr. Hawker?
All right, hopefully you can hear me okay. My name is Will Hawker. I'm with St. Louis Community College, and I'm the IT department coordinator. I also manage our Cisco Academy. We're what's called an ASC advanced, or it's a Academy Support Center, as well as Missouri's only instructor training center. We offer at St. Louis Community College a couple associate's degrees, and in network engineering and cyber security program. Both are recognized by the national, I always have to look at this, National Center of Academic Excellence in Cyber Defense for 2-year education, and that's through the NSA and Homeland Security. But we have several stackable credentials that help our students get credentials along the way that dovetail into our associate's degrees. We have a CCNA cert, or certificate, which just includes the CCNA training. We also have help desk training, we also have network engineering and network security certificates of proficiencies. And these actually do work with, we work with the high schools as well. So high schools can do Cisco Academy and CCNA 1 and 2. Then we do the third course, which then would give them the first credential. And so a student from high school could immediately get a college certificate with just one course. So, or by completing one course with us. And again, our stackable credentials actually overlap with each other, so that as students are progressing along, we do A+ training. So we do the 2 A+ courses and a Security Plus course that that if high school students have that training and have a certificate or have used approved curriculum, like say through Cisco, we can give them credit for prior learning. And so this helps them to push along. We are kind of a bridge between the high school and the four-year institution. And so the training that students get in high schools, that we can accept that. And then our program is accepted, and we have articulation agreements with some four-year institutions in the area. And so depending on which one would depend on how much, but we do have at least one in the area that takes all of our credits from our program. The other thing that we do is, as an ASC, we support Cisco Academies, and we work with the Department of Education, and we've helped develop IT training and stackable credentials for the high schools. And so there, if you go to DESI's website and look up Cisco credentials or Cisco training, there's a number of Cisco Academy courses that are offered that are not just networking, but also things like Python, A+, and so on. This year we're doing a program, and we coordinate with the other 2 ASCs in Missouri. So this is statewide work that we do, and we're offering No Cost Missouri. And this summer we're offering instructor training for the Cisco Academy for the first course of the CCNA, as well as the CCNA Cyber Ops and the A+ training, as well as Python. So these are some of the things that we do. I know it's very brief, but normally there's, you know, like with our stackable credentials at the college, we have made them so that they overlap. So as students complete courses, they can get 2 or 3 extra credentials before they get their associates, which can be used in, you know, for job placement. So I'm trying to be short here. So are there any questions? I thought if it would be possible, I can upload our flyer for our free training for the summer for instructor training, or I can email that and then maybe have that dispersed. I don't know. We just got the flyer completed between Cisco and DESI in the state of Missouri. So we just got that flyer finalized. So, but that training actually starts kind of in April and it goes through June. It's done online and somewhat self-paced.
You can upload as well as email.
Oh, okay.
That will work great. Thank you. Okay, next presenter.
Thank you. I'm Professor Margaret Batum. I am the program coordinator for the software developer program, and I would like to share my screen if that would be allowed, please, because I do have some documents to show. Thank you so much. So the software developer program is really a full stack program. Can you see my screen now? Thank you. The definition of full stack is a software developer who can develop both the UX, user experience front end, and the database/programming back end. And we really have stackable credentials that lead towards that full stack developer status. The front end is the Web Developer Certificate of Specialization, and students can complete that in 1 semester full-time, or 2 semesters part-time, or take longer if you've got a job already and you want to just, get your feet wet and then see how it goes. We have, for the back end, the Database Developer Certificate of Proficiency, and this can be completed in 2 semesters full-time or 3 to 4 semesters part-time. And then you have the full stack if you just want to go for the whole thing, or complete the 2 credentials and then get your Software Developer Associate in Applied Science. That is something that can be completed in 4 semesters as a full-time student, or it might take you a much shorter time, especially if you have general education classes that can transfer in. We love to have both students coming from high school and students coming from the workplace and from other academic programs. As a matter of fact, we have had students with bachelor's, master's, and PhDs who complete our Associate of Applied Science program and then get jobs in the industry. So one of the first things that we want students to figure out is, do you have an analytical mind? Do you like problem solving? And we offer them this self-screening puzzle, which is a really simple 3-box puzzle. You may have seen it before. It's not something I came up with, but you've got 3 boxes. You've got a box that's labeled apples, you've got a box that's labeled oranges, and you've got a box that's labeled both apples and oranges. And the question is, if all 3 labels are wrong, how would you mix them so that you could make all 3 labels be correct? And you have to choose how to mix them based on you telling me, from 1 box and 1 box only, pick 1 piece of fruit and show me what it is. And so we invite students to solve this puzzle. And, generally what I have observed is the students who can solve this puzzle and who want to solve this puzzle are successful in our program. So if we can just take a quick look through the programs, I'm gonna, let's see, starting off with Web Developer. Oh, I gotta move that up. It seems to be on my other screen. There we go. This is the semester by semester plan for a student who would complete this program as a part-time student. They start off with Web Publisher, Programming 1, and Graphics for the Web, and they finish up with Web Scripting, Programming 2, and Web Development. And you may think, well, what about if a student's already done launch code and they're a launch code completer? Can they get this degree without having to retake launch code classes? And we love to partner with launch code completers. They would not need to take the first 2 classes at all. They could just complete the web scripting, the graphics, and the final web development class, which is a portfolio class where you complete 3 separate specific websites for you yourself that are not part of a textbook. Then they can get this done, and we would transfer in the web publishing, the programming 1, and give them credit for that once they've completed the more advanced classes. And then, whoops, I want to go back to the other database developer program and share that one with you. For students who opt in this, they're going to be learning a little bit of Excel, because it turns out Excel is one of the largest tools that is used for analyzing back-end data. So if you're going to understand back-end data and do a little bit with data analytics, you've got to understand Excel. And then they're going to take the same core courses, Programming 1, but Python, of course. They're going to learn some Unix, because if you're going to do back-end happens a lot of times on Unix and not just Windows. And you've got to understand databases. As a matter of fact, you've got to understand a lot about databases. You've got to understand online transaction processing databases. You've got to understand big data databases like MongoDB and Hadoop. So we cover all of this in this program and really get into the databases. What our objective is here is that you, upon completing this program, are going to know what database style and platform is best for a given project. And then the final program, of course, is the Associate of Applied Science and Software Developer, and that has all of this in it, plus the general education classes, plus the Systems Analysis and Design class. The Systems Analysis and Design is a class I teach. It is project-based. We use agile software development techniques, and we build a real-world project. This semester's project, we are building a vaccinator application to be used by COVID vaccinators that follows the CDC guidelines and the state of Missouri requirements. And so we are accessing, let me pull this up. We are accessing CDC, of course, waterfall versus agile. I teach them both, but agile is the software development technique that's used by most St. Louis companies. So that's the one that I focus on teaching. So if we go in and we look at this under useful web links, my students are expected to understand the Centers for Disease Control requirements as published on the CDC website, to derive from those requirements what they need to do to build the software that they are building this semester. And we introduce them to the CDC's vSafe application. We introduce them to the COVID-19 vaccination record card, and they are actually building this application on 2-week sprints in software development teams. So that's really the capstone course for the Associate of Applied Science program. And I'm happy to say that students get good jobs. I just had a student who was placed at Accenture, his first job in IT ever, and it's a real job and it's with benefits, and he's really excited, and that's the type of jobs our students get. We also have a very strong transfer program with Webster University, and many of our students do go there and complete their bachelor's. And that's all I have. Thank you very much for the time. I'm happy to answer questions.
If you do have questions, we would please put them in the chat, because we have a couple more presentations we need to get through.
Thank you.
The presenters will definitely make sure that they get back in touch with you, and we'll get that information to them. So next we're going to have Katera Matthews, who is my former student, one of my favorites, shameless plug, and Tia Bird from Empower.
Hello, that's always, thank you. That means so much. I know it comes full circle, right? When you have these youth that you train up and support in life, and then they come into these places. So my heart. This feels like a big family reunion for us, because we see so many people on here that we haven't seen in such a long time because of COVID and not being able to be in the same space. So super happy to be here. Happy to see all of the Cyber Up people, all the Launch Code folks. We're all doing great things in IT, and I'm going to let Tia take over and kind of quickly run you through what Empower has to offer.
Yeah, hi everybody. So my name is Tia. I, with Katera, am one of the recruiters for Empower. So there are like 6 slides here. We can probably let it get stuck on slide number 2 and just leave it there. I'll run through some information. Or maybe slide number 3, my bad. Thank you, Laura. We're a tech workforce development organization. What our goal is to train young adults. Currently, our age group is 18 to 25 in IT. We want to be an entry point for them into the IT field. Just like most other folks have mentioned, it's a growing field. It goes in a lot of different directions, but there are pockets of youth who don't know where to go and how to start and what it is they want to do. We want to help them with that. So we focus In our initial class, Tech Fundamentals on Computer Networking, we do a little bit of program work. You'll do a little bit of security work, and a part of our goal in the technical aspect of our training is to get you your Tech Fundamentals certification and your CompTIA A+ certs. We do that through a training that lasts 23 weeks in total. 16 of those weeks are technical instruction paired with a really robust professional development. We're trying to work with the whole person. We know that having technical knowledge is really important, but soft skills sometimes matters a lot more. How you're able to maneuver in a room, how to speak to folks and make sure you're presenting your best self to get what you need in putting yourself in the door in that career. So at the end of our 6 weeks of training, our goal is to either get you into 7 weeks of paid internship, a project-based learning experience, which is also paid, or direct hired into an entry-level IT position in the region. We are currently completely virtual since last March. We do that through 2 course sessions, either 9 to 1 or 2 to 6, Monday through Friday. If you need technical assistance, like you don't have a laptop, you don't have a computer, your Wi-Fi is a little sketchy, we have the resources to loan those things to you while you're with us. There's tutoring available, there is coaching. We get folks to come in from throughout the industry, locally and nationally, because we are a national nonprofit, to come in and talk about their experiences and how they got into the field and what kind of stumbling blocks they may have run into and how they maneuvered around that. We want to talk about your stress management, your time management, because the reality is, like, adulting is hard, and we want to be there to support them in the transition from like 18 and high school or college. For some folks that didn't work out quite right, we want to be there to support them so they continue down this path. We have an initiative for young women. We want to see more young women in the tech field, not only enter, but stay there. Statistics say they leave within the first 3 years. We want to keep a relationship with our trainees and graduates so that they feel supported if they want to go into advanced training. We do have advanced options in cloud computing and cybersecurity, but we do require that you go through our Tech Fundamentals course first. When it comes to those certifications, there's no charge. There's no charge for our class. We just want a time commitment. So if you know young adults who have a general curiosity about IT or who are very good at kind of self-teaching, we run across a lot of people who've been like, yeah, I've been studying for my CompTIA at home on my own, or, you know, I'm interested in cybersecurity. I've been trying to play some games and teach myself some stuff. Those are great candidates. Folks who, you know, maybe the 4-year path doesn't make sense for them, traditional college route, maybe this is good for them, or people who are doing like part-time post-secondary education who want to supplement with some technical training. They also make great candidates. So our next cohort will begin in July. I don't have a start date, but July sounds good. Maybe the second week of July. So it's a wonderful time for high school students who are in their senior year and wrapping up. We're always interested in talking to high school students before they get to their senior year. So this is like not a shock, and they can have some time to explore some things, and we can offer some resources for them to do that. So we'd love to get in touch with you for that. Katera, if you could put the link to our application in the chat. Applications are always open. We do have set times when we schedule interviews. You submit your application, you can schedule an interview with one of us. It's pretty painless virtual experience through Zoom that we do our interviews. And then there's some follow-up things to that, and we usually let you know on a rolling basis about admission into the next course. I want to be like a respecter of time because I know we don't have a whole lot left. So I'm sure that there's something I may have missed. Katera, if there's something super pressing and you need to jump in, please do. If not, our contact information is available. We would love to know how we can connect with a broader group of your students. If there's a respectable way to do that, that's not spamming their emails. Or if you would like to have a deeper conversation with one of us, we can always schedule 30 minutes to talk about what we do. There are a lot of wonderful options here today. We just hope that you can consider us as a pathway for some of your graduates. Thank you for your time.
Thank you both so very much. Excellent information. I'm not seeing someone from Webster on the line to represent. Going once, going twice. Okay, we will move on. We'll try to get that information for you if there is not someone. So as we're wrapping up, we just have a couple of things we want to remind you of that are available for young people. The St. Louis School Business Partnership has the Roger Niekamp St. Louis Scholarship available, School Business Partnership Scholarship available. So that's there. The information will be in the slides for you. For students, they're giving away 3 $1,500 scholarships, I think I heard them say this morning. And then we'll move on to, we have a couple of announcements from some people if they want to jump in and do their announcements here.
Thanks, Dawn. I'm kind of doing all the announcements today. I'm Kate. I'm from STEMSTL. I have loved seeing all of you here today. So in terms of announcements, I'll keep it short and sweet. Maryville University has an esports program and an esports team. The link there will take you to their esports page. My contact at Maryville told me that if students, they have a 20-person esports team and that it's a full scholarship for those 20 members of the esports team, but then there are like JV ways to plug into the esports program as well, and like smaller scholarships. So you can seek out those opportunities there. STEMSTL is seeking youth board members. So if you have students who are going to be in 7th through 12th grade in the 2021-2022 school year, and they would be a great fit for helping STEMSTL figure out how we're going to promote high quality anti-racist STEM education and pathways into the STEM workforce. Please share the application right there. Mike might be able to drop it in the link, but it's there on the slide deck too. So it's a brief application, just, you know, like, why is this important? Why are you interested? And then we're looking for a letter of recommendation to get plugged in. It's a year-long commitment. It would start April of this year through March of next year. And then if schools are interested in learning more about Missouri First programs, so First Lego League is really for elementary school, but once you get through 7 through 12, First Tech is a tech program competition where schools can form teams and students go and compete in challenges. And then First Robotics is like big robots. That's for 9 through 12. I've dropped the links there for First Tech and First Robotics. And I've also dropped contact information for Laura Roth, who runs Missouri's First programs and can give you more information about how you start those programs at your school.
Thank you, Kate.